Okay, so it's nice to see so many people tonight coming into the festive season. And what better way to celebrate than to celebrate our own self, something that we can easily overlook. We're so busy with the outside, always the outside, and we forget to look to what is our most precious part. It's also nice to see many people from Ukraine tonight. We have VJ looking very healthy. And we have some new guests tonight. I don't think I know Elka, but we maybe find out that I do know her, but she's not here. And we have Helmets and Leopard. I think you're coming to our Christmas retreat, but I don't know whether I've met you before. We'll find out a little bit later. So, and Oscar, it's nice to see you again, Oscar. He's living in Spain, in Valencia, or he may be surfing somewhere in the world. We never quite know. He's a busy boy. Nice to see you again. And yeah, and we have a lot of people from the community. Good. Okay. So let's do our regular meditation. I'd like to also welcome Martin, who's sitting in the same place where I first met him some months ago. And if you look behind him, you can see one of his wonderful paintings on the wall. Actually, I think you can see two. And I saw these some months ago, and I was very touched. And then we met him and saw his artwork, his paintings. And right now I'm sitting in a room with six of his very big paintings around me. I'm surrounded actually by Martin's paintings. And if you look behind me, you can see the bottom of two of his paintings. And we have a whole house full of his paintings at the moment, very lovely paintings. So good to see you again, Martin. He's a tango teacher, so we're very honored he's there tonight because usually he's dancing. Tonight he's tangoed into our meeting. Very good. Okay. Okay, so let's sit comfortably and close our eyes and look inside and see what's happening inside. So as you look inside, bring your attention to whatever is strongest. Could well be thoughts, emotions, something happening in your body. So whatever it is, bring your attention to that place. Okay, so take another look. And once again, bring your attention, your awareness to whatever is the strongest. Maybe the thoughts are beginning to settle down. Maybe there's a space, maybe an empty space has opened up. Bring your attention to that empty space. Okay, so we have another look, have a fresh look. And this time we give ourselves permission to fall deeper inside. Okay, so when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into the Zoom. Okay, perhaps somebody, by the way, if you want to talk, you can just wave your hand and Om will open up your audio. So if you want to speak, you just put your hand, move your hand. So anybody would like to share what happened in the meditation? Nobody ever volunteers, so I have to find somebody. Ah, Kiran is laughing, so we'll have him. Kiran, you like to share what happened?
Yes, I'm laughing because it started with toothache. So this was the strongest. And then after a while, it somehow was not there anymore. And then it got very empty. It got,
Right.
it got very empty, and some thoughts came up, and then it got empty again, and just this.
Right. Very good. That's a very good experience. You see, you could easily be caught up in the toothache. Days on end, some people have their tooth dramas. So that's very nice. Okay. Nobody's going to volunteer, so I guess I have to choose somebody. Lara, how about you? You're a newcomer to this.
Yeah, at first I had a strong feeling in my throat, but it was because have eaten something I was a little bit allergic to, so I didn't want to put so much in this part, and then I noticed that there was much more space in my head than usual. Then when we do this meditation, I always feel my head very, very strong and very hard. And today it was very light and more space in it. And actually I did a lot of self-inquiry this day. So probably it's because of that. And that it was very beautiful to notice. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we had a circle last night, Satsang circle last night, mainly for community people, and I was speaking a lot about self-inquiry, pointing out that very often people are not really doing self-inquiry. They know about it, but they don't really intensely involve in it. So it's very nice. I mean, Lara has just recently joined our community, I think from the beginning of December, actually, so just a short few weeks. And so when you do the self-inquiry just for one day, and you notice some change, because when you say your head feels lighter, then you're basically saying that there are many less thoughts than would normally be there.
Yeah.
So probably normally you have a head very densely packed with thoughts, because in a way you've never done that much meditation. You've probably never really tried self-inquiry. So this is a big step for you. And I find it really wonderful that you got immediately some clear indication that self-inquiry works. I mean, you shouldn't have the expectation that, every day your head will get lighter and lighter until you become a balloon and kind of float away. It won't probably be like that. You'll see small changes, but over a month or two, you will definitely see that there is a benefit if you keep doing it. As I was talking last night, if you don't do it, there's no benefit, of course. But if you do this self-inquiry that Ramana Maharshi is suggesting intensely, then you get definitely a result. Many people I've been teaching have got a great result from that. And last night I was not so nice to the community, because I see that when you live together with a teacher, it's very easy to fall into a mindset that, he's going to do it. He'll do it. But that's, of course, not true, because unfortunately, the teacher can't do anything much. He can maybe share a nice energy. He can point himself. He can point to things like self-inquiry. He can make you aware of masters like Ramana Maharshi or Papaji. So in that way, he can give a support. He can give a direction. And this is actually very, very important. And if you allow yourself to become open in your heart, then of course you get another benefit, because then you're able to fall easily into the teacher's energy field. And hopefully the teacher that you have has an emptiness, so that when you fall into his energy field, you become yourself quiet and empty. And in fact, many masters in India, they say the way you can see if your teacher is a good teacher for you is to see the effect of being around that teacher. If you spend time around a teacher and you notice that when you're in his presence, it helps to quieten your mind, then that would be a strong indication that destiny has brought you to the correct place. And it's very noticeable. I'm just looking right now at Diane and Maha. They nearly always come onto Zoom as a kind of unit. They're our official romantic couple. But recently, Diane asked me about his idea of doing a t-shirt business. He's going to start producing t-shirts with spiritual slogans like "Wake up now" or "Be here now," or all that kind of stuff. And then his other idea was to teach meditation. And so I gave him a new name, which is Dian, which means meditation. And it's very touching for me, because he's been coming to my meetings and retreats now for probably 8 years. Is it 8 years? 8? 10 years. 10 years. 10 years. He doesn't live in our community because he has a daughter and she's not allowed to come to our community. So he doesn't live in our community, but he's regularly coming to meetings, regularly coming to retreats. And now he has this name, Dian, and he started locally in the south of Germany offering meditation classes and getting a very good result, actually. So these things definitely work. He's been coming and coming and coming and coming. And this energy to persevere, to stay close to the teacher, you end up, of course, you come into a synchronicity together. So this is a great value of having a teacher that you spend time with. But in the end, the teacher can't do what is necessary. You have to do your own journey. You have to look inside yourself. So anyway, okay. So somebody else like to share? Maybe Helmut. I don't think I've met you before, have I? Have I met you before? Can you turn his microphone on?
Okay. Hello, John.
Hello.
Sie kann vielleicht mal etwas zu meiner Meditationserfahrung heute Abend sagen.
I want to say something about my meditation experience tonight.
First time, dafür das erste Mal, wenn ich nach innen gegangen bin, habe ich mein Herz sehr stark klopfen gehört.
Das erste Mal, als ich nach innen geschaut habe, habe ich mein Herz sehr stark klopfen gehört. The first time I looked inside, I felt my heart beating very strongly.
Right.
Und beim zweiten nach innen schauen war schon mehr Stille da.
The second time I looked inside, there was more silence.
Ich hatte auch einen Gedanken, einen englischen Satz, der mich auch etwas beschäftigt.
And in my thoughts, there was an English sentence which keeps me busy sometimes.
Und zwar heißt das im Englischen der Ausdruck to fall in love.
Und im Englischen heißt dieser Ausdruck, in English, this saying means falling in love.
Falling in love. We don't fall in love, you know. We want to raise up in love.
Wir verlieben uns tatsächlich nicht. Wir steigen auf in der Liebe.
Right. Raise up. No falling anymore, please.
Aufsteigen, nicht fallen. Nicht mehr fallen, bitte.
Aber vielleicht müssen wir zuerst fallen, um dann aufzusteigen.
Maybe we first have to fall before we rise up.
I don't think so.
Nein, glaube ich nicht.
Okay.
Many people do that, of course.
Viele Leute machen das natürlich.
Ja, für mich hat
The world is littered by people who fell in love.
Die Welt ist verschmutzt von Leuten, die sich verlieben.
And the ones who
In Liebe
rise up
fallen.
in love, they're quite a rare phenomena.
Und die in die Liebe aufsteigen, das ist eine große Rarität.
We can talk about that at Christmas.
Wir können uns über dieses Thema an Weihnachten unterhalten.
How many?
Darf ich noch was sagen?
Can I say something? Something else? Oh, I think.
Can you translate for him?
Yeah. So can I say something else? He's asking. Are you still there?
Ja, I'm still there.
John David, can you hear us? I think there's some connection problem. Just a moment.
Nobody hears me. Nobody hears me. Nobody hears me. Now we get somewhere. Okay, good. We get our translator back online in a moment. He's also looking after the broadcast.
Wir haben unseren Übersetzer gleich wieder da, ist auch der auf das
Okay. So we were talking a little bit about relationship, and I was asking you, Helmut, how long you've been together?
Also wir haben uns gerade über Beziehungen unterhalten und Helmut, ich hatte die Frage, wie lange seid ihr denn schon zusammen?
Will und ich, wir sind seit 33 Jahren.
We are married, we are together since 33 years.
33 years, wow. Okay, well, we look forward to meeting you in a few days for the Christmas retreat.
Wir freuen uns, euch bald auf dem Weihnachtsretreat zu sehen.
That's a pretty impressive score.
Das ist sehr beeindruckend.
Yeah, my parents beat you a bit. They were, I think, even 50 years together.
Meine Eltern waren noch länger zusammen, ungefähr 50 Jahre.
I don't know. What is the platinum anniversary? Is that 50 years?
Ist die Platin-Hochzeit 50 Jahre?
Das ist die Golden.
No, that's the golden.
And this platinum comes after that? Maybe they were 60 years together. I think they were 60 years together because
Die waren 60 Jahre
it's
zusammen.
possible. They both died when they were about 90.
Die sind
And
beide
I
gestorben,
think
als sie 90 waren.
My mother was about 20, so they could almost have been nearly, 60 years they were together. So you've got a bit to catch up yet, 33. But pretty good, pretty good. I think we don't have anybody else here who's been so long together. What about Hanuman? Hanuman, how long have you been with your dear wife?
Mann, wie sieht das bei dir aus? Wie lange warst du mit deiner Frau zusammen?
Is that 10 years?
Sind das 10 Jahre?
Like this. 10? 5? 10? Okay, right. Good. Well, that's not so bad. 10 years, but you've got a bit, anyway. Okay, somebody else like to share from the meditation? What about Elka? Did I meet you before?
So. Nein, hallo.
Hello.
Ja, nein, ich bin das erste Mal hier und das erste Mal, wo ich dich überhaupt sehe. So, ich habe dich mal in einem Film gesehen.
Kurze Pause. Yeah, it's the first time that I'm here and I haven't met you before, but I've seen you in a movie.
Okay. Was it a good movie?
Was ein guter Film?
Ich glaube, Facetten des Erwachens.
Blueprints for Awakening Indian Masters.
Okay, yeah. That was actually the first film.
Das war tatsächlich der erste Film.
It's a bit primitive, but I met some very wonderful masters and teachers, so it's got a powerful energy.
Es ist ein bisschen ein primitiver Film, aber ich habe sehr viele, sehr schöne Meister kennengelernt, also es hat eine sehr gute Energie.
And in fact, I think some of you will know that we've actually produced and edited and put out in the world 7 films.
Und wahrscheinlich wisst ihr, dass wir 7 Filme veröffentlicht haben.
And recently we put all these 7 films up on our YouTube channel.
Und kürzlich haben wir all diese Filme auf YouTube veröffentlicht.
So you can download and watch them at any time.
Die könnt ihr also immer anschauen und runterladen.
Yeah. And the most recent one is, what's it called? I've forgotten what it's called. The Pointless Joy of Freedom. Pointless Joy of Freedom. That was the most recent film. Okay. So, Shiva, you look like you want to share about the meditation. Oh, I didn't ask Elka to share. Sorry, Elka, I get a bit carried away. Sorry. Would you like to share something about the meditation?
Ja, die Meditation ich habe gemerkt, da war ganz große Unruhe in mir, weil ich saß erst in einem anderen Zimmer. Normal lebe ich alleine, aber jetzt zu Weihnachten kommen jetzt so meine Söhne heim und mein Sohn hat hinter mir gesessen und die ganze Zeit in seiner Tastatur getippt und ich habe schon
Also
gemerkt,
kurze Pause. So at first there was a restlessness inside because I was going from room to room, but that went away. And now I was sitting in a room with my son behind me.
Right. And where are you living in Germany?
Wo lebst du in Deutschland?
das ist in der Nähe von, also St. Wendel heißt das, es ist im Saarland.
It's called St. Wendel and it's in the Saarland.
Is that up in the north, in the Baltic?
Ist das im Norden?
Das Saarland? Ne, das
Ja.
Saarland ist an der Grenze zu Frankreich und Luxemburg.
It's at the border
okay.
to France and Luxembourg.
Okay. Right. I don't know Germany very well.
Ich kenne Deutschland nicht sehr gut.
I used to be English, but I've lived now so long in Germany that I'm the only non-speaking German.
Ich war Englisch, aber ich habe jetzt so lange in Deutschland gelebt, dass ich mittlerweile der einzige nicht deutsch sprechende Deutsche bin.
Because I always get translated, so I never really learned German.
Weil ich immer übersetzt werde, deswegen habe ich nie Deutsch gelernt.
But recently I was in hospital.
Aber kürzlich war ich im Krankenhaus.
I was having a hip operation.
Ich hatte eine Hüft-OP.
And of course, the nurses expected me to be able to speak German after 20 years.
Und die Krankenschwestern haben natürlich erwartet, dass ich nach 20 Jahren Deutsch sprechen kann.
So that was a bit tough.
Also das war ein bisschen schwierig.
But luckily the doctor spoke English, so I survived.
Gott sei Dank konnten die Ärzte Englisch sprechen, also habe ich überlebt.
Okay, anyway, welcome. We're doing these
Schön, dass du
meetings
da
every
bist.
week, so you're always welcome to join us.
Wir machen die Meetings wöchentlich, also du kannst immer gerne dazu kommen.
And I'm living in a community near to Cologne, between Cologne and Düsseldorf.
Ich lebe
You're
in einer
always welcome
Gemeinschaft.
to join us here.
Ich lebe in einer Gemeinschaft bei Köln und du bist immer willkommen, auch hierher zu kommen.
Ja, genau, das war auch mein Interesse. Dafür bin ich auch da, denn ich suche eine neue Möglichkeit zum Leben oder Erfahrungen zu sammeln.
Yes, and this is one reason why I'm here, because I'm searching for a new possibility to live and to have new experiences.
Okay, well, we can give you many, many good experiences here.
Wir können dir hier viele tolle Erlebnisse geben.
So come and visit us.
Komm und besuch uns.
Ja, gerne. Also ich war schon vor über 10 Jahren oder 15 Jahren bei Ela Jackson Beer und Gangaji und habe ganz wertvolle Erfahrungen gemacht.
Ja, das würde ich sehr. Yes, I would like that a lot. And about 10 years ago, I was also with Gangaji and Eli, and I also made very good experiences with them.
Right. Good. Yeah. We have the same teacher, you probably know that.
Wir haben den gleichen Lehrer, das weißt du wahrscheinlich.
Yeah. Okay, so if you have time, come to our Christmas party on the 25th of December. We're celebrating Christmas with a party which will include a cabaret from all the residents of the community.
Also wenn du möchtest, komm zu unserer Weihnachtsfeier am 25. Da gibt es auch ein Kabarett von allen Bewohnern der Gemeinschaft.
We always have a lot of fun with that.
Da haben wir echt immer eine Menge Spaß mit.
Yeah. So actually I can say to everybody who's watching tonight, if you would like to come to that party, you're completely welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Das möchte ich zu allen an dieser Stelle sagen. Jeder, der kommen möchte am 25. Ihr seid herzlich eingeladen zu kommen.
Then you can also see Martin's painting. It's a really beautiful exhibition.
Dann könnt ihr auch Martins Gemälde sehen und die Ausstellung.
Good. Okay. So I think I'll I'll read tonight's text.
Ich denke, ich werde jetzt den Text von heute Abend lesen.
So most of you know that the last 2 months, I've been very focused on a manuscript, a Ramana Maharshi manuscript, which can be downloaded from Amazon. Are you translating? Okay, so it's translating, good. So this is a manuscript which is apparently a record of what was happening in the ashram in 1936, so 85 years ago, when Ramana himself was about 50, 54, I think, 55. So he wasn't this elderly man which we normally see in photographs. He was a vibrant, middle-aged man. And at that time, Paul Brunton, a well-known, I think he was English or maybe Swiss, he had been in India looking for a teacher, and he had found Ramana Maharshi. And he wrote this book, famous book, in Search of Secret India. And in this book, he particularly gives a lot of praise to Ramana Maharshi. And it was published about 1934. And so by 1936, 2 years after that book was published, many interesting and serious and knowledgeable Western seekers visited him in his ashram in the south of India, which would have been an amazing journey, because even now when you get to Chennai, you still have to take a 4-hour taxi ride from Chennai. So in those days, I guess there wouldn't have been any planes coming to Chennai. So you would have come on a ship to India, and then you would have traveled across India on the railways, and finally, probably maybe the local train, or you would have taken a horse and cart, which must have taken, maybe 10 hours, I don't know. So I really respect those Western seekers who came to his ashram in the 1930s, before the war kind of stopped that again. And so these people that came there, you could really feel their enormous energy, their intense interest. And then they would sit with him, and many of them report how deeply touched, just sitting silently in the room together with Ramana Maharshi, looking into his eyes and being deeply touched, so that the thoughts would just stop. So many people reported that their main impression, in a way, of visiting him was not maybe what he said. Of course, that was also very important, but this moment of eye contact. So many people were so deeply touched from that eye contact. I remember 30 years ago, I was in the ashram for the first time, and I remember meeting a woman from Argentina, and she had been in the ashram in 1950, when he left his body. And she was there the day before he left his body. By that time, he was very, very ill because he had a cancer on his arm, on his left arm. And everybody knew he was dying. He was very frail, lying in bed. But he made himself available. So there was a tremendous queue of people wanting to walk past. And this woman told me that on the day before he died, she was in that queue. And just for a moment, they had eye contact, just for a moment. And years later, 40 years later, when I met her in 1992, so it would have been about 40 years later, she told me how her whole life had been touched from that moment. It touched her so deeply just to have this eye contact. So this is something very, very beautiful about Ramana Maharshi, that he was incredibly empty. And so people would sit in his presence day after day for hours without really speaking. He would also himself sit with those people sitting around him, sometimes for hours without really speaking very much. So he has this image of being very silent, and he was very silent. But also he was capable of talking, and many of these interesting visitors, they arranged to talk to him, to have a dialogue with him, a personal dialogue with him. And these dialogues are reported in this manuscript. It's called Aham Sparana. It means self-realization. And the whole of his teachings were directed to self-realization, meaning that you come in contact with your own essence. And when you come in contact with your own essence, you're coming in contact with everybody else's essence. And in fact, you're coming in contact with what the Indians call the self, or he used to call it the self. And we might call it God. We might have many different words for it. We might call it the essence. We might call it love and peace. There are many different expressions that point to something which is, in fact, who we are. And of course, in these dialogues, Ramana Maharshi very often spoke about self-inquiry, Vichara, self-inquiry. And he had this very simple, clear method, which was that you take the thought and you take it back to the source of the thought. Normally, we get a thought coming, and then we take it and take it and take it, and a whole story starts just from one thought. And what he's telling is that if you live your life allowing your mind to be full of stories, you will never come to stillness. You will never come to peace. You'll never come to your essence. And so he suggested something that was deeply rooted in the spiritual tradition of India, and that is to inquire about the nature of I. We constantly are saying I all through the day, and he's saying investigate this I. Who am I? Who am I? Became his famous teaching. And sometimes people would say to him, I don't really find it easy to do self-inquiry. Do you have another teaching? Do you have an alternative? And then he would say, surrender. And when he talked about surrender, he really means surrender, not surrendering to somebody. He meant you completely let go. You completely let go of any notion of being anybody and doing anything. It's just like God will direct me. The self will direct me. So I thought that's a very, very simple teaching, but it's really hard to do that. Really deeply hard. But occasionally we meet people who are really surrendered, and that's always very, very touching, actually. Somebody was talking about this film I made many years ago now, Blueprints for Awakening. When did I make that film? I can't remember now, actually, when I made that film. About 2000, I think. Anyway, it was very beautiful. I traveled around India over a few years, visiting anybody I felt might be an interesting master. And I had a camera and an audio recording machine, and I would sit with the master. And I had invented, I think it was 15 questions. And I asked each master the same set of 15 questions. And this makes a fascinating book and a fascinating film, because you can then compare the answers, like, what is enlightenment? That was one of the basic questions. And of course, you get many different flavors of the answer. So, yeah. So I had a wonderful time meeting many Indian masters, actually. It was very nice. Touched my life for many years now. Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting a bit off the point, because the point is this manuscript from Ramana Maharshi. And I got so touched when I downloaded the script that actually for the last 2 months, I've produced about 50 blogs or 50 texts where I've formatted, because in the manuscript, it's not formatted, so it's very difficult to read. And so I've selected different dialogues, and I've formatted and edited them, and I put them up on my website. So if you have interest in that, have a look on my website. I have a blog, and they're all in the blog, but also we've started a special Ramana Maharshi page where there's a bit more information, because we're planning to publish a book. We're going to put these edits into a book. So tonight, I've got a short text about the body. So I'd like to read it to you, and then we'll go through it together bit by bit. So Ramana was asked, what is the proof that I am not this body? What is the proof that I'm not this body? And Bhagwan answered, the fact that the body, which you now erroneously believe to be identical with yourself, is lost in the states of dream and deep sleep, is the proof. Yet on waking, you find yourself in the same body. This is continuity of memory and nothing more. What proof do you have that you are this physical body made of flesh and bones? And then again, a question. All my memories pertain to this body only. I have no memory of occupying any other body. Bhagwan. The experience of occupying a body is only a mental phenomena, which is superimposed on top of pure consciousness. Suppose you are riding a bicycle and seriously thinking about something all along the way. So you're riding along, and while you ride, your body is turning the pedals, but you are completely preoccupied with thinking about something. After a time, you find yourself at the intended destination, but you have no recollection or memory of having made the journey, because your facility of concentration was fixed in its entirety upon the problem you were trying to solve inside your head, whilst you were busy pedaling all the while. Even with your attention elsewhere, your hands and feet have carried you to your destination. What does it show? We superimpose the sense of doership upon ourselves. In fact, all activities only take place spontaneously. The body has a predestined script of its own that it carries out automatically. If we concentrate on being the self, our responsibilities in life will be smoothly performed by the body without need for the slightest intervention on our part. You say you remember occupying this body only. Even in dreams, we occupy so many bodies. Does that mean we are any of those dream bodies? In our dreams, bodies come and went, but our self, the dreamer, remain unaffected. So also, many are the bodies that you have found yourself in over the ages, but none of them is you. You are, I repeat, the bodiless self. So that's the text we will look at tonight. You can find this also on my blog. And in fact, this is a small part of a longer discussion that he had with one of these mature seekers. I think it's about 10 pages altogether. And I think, the title, I gave the title of this text, if you're interested to find it, is Illusion and the Body. Illusion and the Body. That's the title of this particular blog, if you would like to find the whole 10 pages. Okay, so maybe we go through it together, bit by bit. I mean, in the beginning, he was asked for the proof. How can you prove that I'm not my body? And he was making the point that when you sleep, every night when you go to sleep, there's no sense of a body. There's no sense of any body. There's only emptiness, actually. In the deeper sleep, when there's no dreaming, I mean, in the time of dreaming, it could well be that you find yourself in some other body, apparently some other body, having some kind of adventure. This is very often possible in dreams. But when you're in the deep sleep, there is no sense of body. We have no body awareness. But then again, in the morning, when we wake up, there we are again, apparently in our body. And this body may say, pee-pee time. So he's making it clear that in his opinion, we are very much in the habit, we're in a kind of habit of being identified with our body. So he's suggesting this is a kind of mental habit, and this is not who we are. So for him, there's never any question about that, because for him, it's always clear that the truth is that we are all the self. And our body, I mean, at the end of our life, for example, the end of his life, for example, when he had this cancer on his arm and he got very weak, his disciples were getting very upset at the idea that he was going to die. It was somehow clear to everybody that he was getting weaker, and they were, very much upset. And his answer was, where can I go? Where could I go? And so when you go to Ramana Ashram, we're going there actually on a retreat in 2 weeks' time. We're flying together to, about 20 of us flying to India to have a retreat, just 10 minutes from his ashram. And, when we visit his ashram, I would say the whole ashram, but particularly when we walk around his samadhi, or if we sit in the presence of his samadhi, everybody gets very touched. There's a very powerful energy that's somehow always present there. And if you're sensitive, you come into contact with that energy. And the ashram have a wonderful way to somehow keep this presence of Ramana celebrated day by day. Celebrated. They put they put beautiful flowers and they chant and so on. It keeps it very alive, very alive. So everybody who comes to the ashram will get touched just from walking in the ashram, but later when they come close to the samadhi, many people are deeply touched and come into the same kind of emptiness that they might have come into when he was alive. So in his case, it seems clear, like with many other well-known masters. In India, it's very common that when masters leave their body is rather a nice expression, by the way. You know, you leave your body. You know, you carry on hanging out, but you leave your body. It's a bit like, you know, you take off your overcoat. You know, you've been wearing this overcoat and you just take it off and put it down and maybe pick up another overcoat. We tend to pick up many overcoats. Anyway, yeah, so then he gives this example of riding a bicycle. I think we've all had some kind of experience like that, where maybe we went for a walk from A to B. He's giving the example of a bicycle from A to B, even can be a car ride from A to B. And we find ourselves arriving at our destination. And because we were preoccupied with something, we were not aware at all that the body had walked or the body had bicycled to the destination. So that's not who we are. It's not who we are. So this is actually a very important aspect that we come to see, that although we're out of habit, out of pure habit, we are identified very often with the body. If you examine it, if you look into it, it's not really true. Not really true. So maybe somebody would like to say something, ask something, share something on the subject of the body. I mean, Ramana was very much of the opinion that everybody had a destiny, that we come onto this planet, we have a certain destiny. And this destiny is unfolding as it's supposed to unfold. And therefore, when he talks of surrender, he's basically suggesting you completely surrender to your particular destiny. And if you can do that, if you can come to that amazing amount of surrender, then in fact your life will unfold. You know, moment by moment, day by day, it will unfold. And I think here in our community, we have several people now who are very much clear about that, how it just unfolds by itself. And you realize that I'm not doing anything. I'm not the doer. There's no doer. And I'm not my body either. Again, in our community, we've had, I would say, quite a few people. It's always hard to know how many. Let me say 30, but it might be much more, probably is much more, who have had an experience where they clearly were not their body. They came to something else. They came to their essence, and they experienced themselves as everything, oneness with everything. Maybe that didn't last so long. With many people, it doesn't last so long. You get a kind of glimpse of that, then it goes away. But even having a glimpse of that, of who you really are, if you have a glimpse of who you really are, this is powerful enough to change the priorities in your life, actually. Anyway, I'm talking and talking. Would somebody like to share something? Okay, good. Helmut, yeah, he'd like to share. Good.
Bin ich auf Sendung?
Ja, du bist auf Sendung, ja.
Okay. Ich möchte einfach sagen, dass ich sehr berührt bin von dem, was du sagst.
I'm very touched by what you're saying.
Well, I'm not really, it's not what I'm saying, it's what Ramana Maharshi is saying.
Es ist nicht das, was ich sage, das ist das, was Ramana Maharshi sagt.
I mean, I've been saying the same things for many years, but I don't pretend that it's from John David. I'm just a kind of messenger.
Ich sage diese Sachen schon seit vielen Jahren, aber ich gebe nicht vor, dass das meine Sachen sind. Ich bin eher eine Art Botschafter.
Okay. Danke.
The jokes are mine.
Die Witze, die kommen von mir.
Teaching is Ramana Maharshi.
Die Lehre kommt von Ramana.
But the thing that's very beautiful, actually, you know, when I say that the teaching is Ramana Maharshi, he would probably never admit that it's like his teaching, because in India they pass down the teaching from generation to generation of spiritual masters.
Und das
So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Das Schöne ist, Ramana würde selbst auch nie sagen, dass die Lehren von ihm kommen, weil in Indien gibt es diese Tradition, wo die Lehre von Generation zu Generation weitergegeben wird.
I mean, we Westerners, we're very affected maybe by the kind of master package, how he looks, how he behaves, and all these things. But for Indians, it's much more important that the teaching is passed down. It's not so important about the actual master. It's more important the actual teaching.
Also im Westen sind wir sehr davon beeinflusst, von diesem Paket, wie der Teacher, wie der Lehrer aussehen soll, was er sagen soll. Aber in Indien geht es mehr darum, um die Lehre, die von Generation zu Generation weitergegeben wird und nicht so viel um den Lehrer selbst.
Yeah. So in my own case, you know, I was spending nearly 5 years with Papaji.
Also für mich war es so, ich habe viele Jahre mit Papaji verbracht.
And he was a disciple, direct disciple from Ramana Maharshi.
Und er war ein direkter Schüler von Ramana Maharshi.
And of course, many people are very much touched by the presence of Papaji.
Und viele Leute sind sehr berührt von der Gegenwart, von der Präsenz von Papaji.
But he himself, at the beginning of almost every meeting, I think, not every meeting when he came into the hall, he would namaste to a big picture of Ramana Maharshi.
Aber er selbst, Papaji, jedes Mal, wenn er zum Satsang gekommen ist, das allererste, was er gemacht hatte, ist ein Namaste zu Ramana zu geben. Einen großen Bild von Ramana.
And he would always say that he is just a kind of channel for Ramana Maharshi.
Der würde immer sagen, er ist nur ein Channel für Ramana Maharshi.
So I would see myself also as a channel for both of them.
Ich sehe mich selbst auch wie ein Channel für Ramana und Papaji.
Yeah. Okay, Elka.
Ja, ich finde, diese momentane Zeit ist eine große Chance, erlebe ich als große Chance für mich.
I find the current time is a big opportunity for me.
Ja, alles ist so unsicher und man kann sich auf nichts mehr verlassen und das finde ich so schön, dass man sich einfach so dem hingeben kann.
Everything is so unsecure or not really uncertain, and it's so good to just surrender to that.
Ja, und ich habe mehr gelernt. Ich habe sonst immer so viel gedacht und jetzt merke ich mehr so im Geschehen lassen. Ich lasse geschehen. Und das ist sehr befreiend.
And before I was thinking more, and now I just let things happen.
Right.
And
Yeah, I mean, once we examine how things are working, it doesn't take so long to see that you're not really the doer. You know, we like to believe we are the doer. I'm doing my life.
Und wenn wir da wirklich mal hinschauen und das erforschen, können wir feststellen, wir sind gar nicht der Tour. Wir haben diese Idee, ich tue mein Leben.
But if you really look at how your life is developing or has developed,
Aber wenn du wirklich hinsiehst, wie sich dein Leben entwickelt hat,
you can probably discover that at important moments of your life when maybe some direction changed,
dann kannst du wahrscheinlich,
small things just kind of happen.
dann kannst du wahrscheinlich sehen an Stellen, wo sich Sachen verändert haben in deinem Leben. Es sind einfach kleine Dinge passiert.
So, for example, a few days ago, because I'm going away to India for a month and then I'm going to work on a book in Sri Lanka for another month, so I'm going to be away for January and February.
Weil ich werde im Januar in Indien sein und im Februar für ein Buchprojekt in Sri Lanka. Also ich werde für 2 Monate weg sein.
I needed to organize a new art exhibition, which would start in April.
Und dafür musste ich eine neue Kunstausstellung organisieren, die im April starten wird.
And I was just beginning to become aware that I need to do something.
Und mir wurde das gerade bewusst, dass ich etwas tun muss.
And in that very moment, into my email box came the information about an artist living locally.
Und genau in diesem Moment kam eine E-Mail in meine Mailbox über einen Künstler, der hier in der Gegend wohnt.
My first response was, oh, I'm not interested in some artist sending me his pictures.
Und meine erste Reaktion war, ich bin daran überhaupt nicht interessiert an irgendeinem Künstler, der mir seine Infos schickt.
But anyway, on some kind of impulse, I opened up his website.
Aber dann auf einen Impuls hin habe ich seine Website aufgemacht.
And I absolutely liked his painting.
Und ich fand seine Bilder toll.
So immediately there was a yes.
Und sofort war da einfach ein Ja.
And then I remembered one of our own artists, what we call gallery artists, who had some exhibitions before in our gallery. I remembered one woman, and I realized that these two artists would fit very well together in one exhibition.
Dann konnte ich mich plötzlich an eine Frau erinnern, die schon mal bei uns ausgestellt hatte und wusste, die zwei passen zusammen für die Ausstellung.
And this was at the end of last week.
Und das war am Ende der letzten Woche.
So today I went to see this new artist.
Und heute bin ich zu dem neuen Künstler gefahren.
And I liked every painting he showed me.
Und mir hat jedes Bild von ihm gefallen.
I said, it only takes 2 seconds to say yes, you know?
Und ich sagte, es dauert nur 2 Sekunden, um Ja zu sagen.
Yeah. And then we spent a couple of hours. We had a very nice meeting, quite a deep meeting, I would say. And he's like a very nice guy, and he does really interesting paintings.
Und dann haben wir ein paar Stunden zusammen verbracht und wir hatten ein sehr tiefes Treffen und er hat mir seine Bilder gezeigt.
So I almost had to do nothing to arrange the next exhibition.
Also ich musste tatsächlich so gut wie nichts tun, um die nächste Ausstellung zu organisieren.
And I don't know about your life, but I find a lot of these kind of things happened in my life.
Ich weiß nicht, wie das in deinem Leben ist, aber in meinem sind viele solche Sachen passiert.
Ja, sie kommen einfach und es ist immer so ein Weg, der immer weitergeht. Fällt immer das Nächste zu.
Yes, it's happening like this. One thing is coming and then the next thing is coming.
Right. This is when you can surrender to that, then it makes life very, very easy.
Ja, wenn du dich dem hingeben kannst, dann macht das Leben sehr leicht.
Ja. Ja, mein Leben ist viel, viel, viel leichter geworden als je zuvor. Ich habe auch sehr viel mit dem Enneagramm gearbeitet und sehr viel erkannt und es hat mir sehr viel Klarheit gegeben.
Yes, my life became much lighter, and I worked a lot with the Enneagram as well, and that made my life lighter and more clear.
Right, right. Yeah, I hope that most of the people who are on this meeting tonight know about the Enneagram, because that's a very interesting aspect to know yourself.
Ja, die meisten, die hier im Meeting sind, wissen über das Enneagramm, weil das ist ein sehr wichtiger Bestandteil, um herauszufinden, wer du bist.
So you could say self-inquiry and Ramana's teachings of self-inquiry point to who you are.
Also man könnte sagen, Ramanas Lehre zeigt darauf, wer du bist.
And the Enneagram points to who you're not.
Das Enneagramm zeigt dorthin, was du nicht bist.
So this is very interesting because through understanding the Enneagram, you can also understand better what your essence is.
Also wenn du das Enneagramm verstehst, dann kannst du auch gleichzeitig mehr verstehen, was deine Essenz ist.
Yeah. Right. You probably studied with Eli Jackson Bear.
Du hast wahrscheinlich mit Eli Jackson Bear gelernt.
Nein, bei Eli Jackson Bear hatte ich nur sehr tiefe Erfahrungen.
No, with Eli, I only had deep experiences.
Und ich habe
Okay.
mit Christian Meyer sehr intensiv an dem Enneagramm gearbeitet.
Mit Christian Meyer habe ich sehr intensiv am Enneagramm gearbeitet. With Christian Meyer, I worked intensively on the Enneagram.
Ah, okay. Because you probably know Eli has done a book, a very nice book about Enneagram.
Wahrscheinlich weißt du, dass Eli ein Buch über das Enneagramm geschrieben hat.
Mm. Yeah.
Ja.
Okay, well, very nice to meet you.
Yes.
Come and visit us sometime.
Yes.
If you have time, you can stay for a week for free and just help in the house a bit as a volunteer.
Wenn du möchtest, kannst du eine Woche kostenlos kommen und einfach ein bisschen mithelfen im Haus.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. We're a dangerous place, though.
Wir sind ein
Okay,
gefährlicher
warn
Ort. Ich möchte dich nur warnen.
Ja, Gefahr liebe ich.
I love danger.
Ah, well, perfect. Come tomorrow. Come tomorrow and have a exciting Christmas.
Komm morgen und hab ein aufregendes Weihnachten.
Ja, leider bin ich nicht geimpft und meine Söhne sind da. Bin etwas, ja, da vielleicht ist momentan nicht möglich.
Unfortunately, I'm not vaccinated and my kids are here, so at the moment it's maybe not possible.
Ah, okay. But you can also bring your kids when you would come here.
Du kannst auch deine Kinder mitbringen, wenn du hierher kommen möchtest.
Ja, ich glaube, wir haben nicht so das.
And you don't have to be vaccinated. We'll test you when you arrive.
Du musst nicht geimpft sein. Wir werden dich testen, wenn du kommst.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So probably somebody else would like to share something. Martin, good. Can you open up his microphone, Martin's microphone?
I've done it. Hi, John.
Hi. Very good. I wanted to say something, actually. Now I have a chance. You left a book for me, a new catalog for me.
Yes.
And I want you to know that when I opened this book, this catalog, I found it absolutely wonderful. You did an amazing job.
Oh, great. Thank you.
You kind of upgraded your other catalog, and it's done so well. It's so professional. I mean, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. But it was not me that did it. And
right.
But
it's your work. It's your work in it. It's your art in it.
Yeah. Well, I just want to talk a little because I think it's very amazing that you talk about this a lot, maybe most, that it's so important to understand that we are not the doing ones. And this is for me, for the last weeks now, the most important thing. I always read and think about and feel about this. And I read a lot Ramana and like Nisargadatta, and now I read some book from Baltekar, from a student of Nisargadatta, and this whole book he writes all the time. There's only one message: you are not the doing. This is the most important thing. Understand it. This is the whole book, and this is for me is really an opener, more and more to feel it and really to see it's true, not intellectually, but really more and more feel it.
Right.
And it's not easy to accept, you know, you try to find it, and this kind of this surrender you're talking about, that you see, it's an illusion that you have to let go this illusion, yeah, that you're doing. And well, I was thinking about this example with the bicycle, because it has two sides. On the one side, you see you're not the doing one; you're riding anyway. But on the other side, I think when you don't realize where you're riding, there's the other thing, not the body, but your mind, because you're thinking all the time, and then you're not realizing what you are doing. And this is another important aspect. So it would be very good when you ride a bicycle and you know, I'm not riding, it's just happening. But when you see all the thing, what you're doing, then in the other way, you're in your mind, and it's not you anyway. Yeah, it's just going in the past and in the future, and then you are not there again. Yeah, and do you know that's the same thing with the riding a bicycle, and you don't know how you come somewhere because you were not there. That's the other aspect. It's the one aspect of the body and the other the mind.
Right. And when you how can I say, when you investigate these two aspects you're talking about,
yes,
of course, the really frightening thing is there's nothing really. You know, I mean, I don't know if you've seen Papaji's autobiography in 3 volumes.
Yes,
the title of this book is "Nothing Ever Happened."
Yes, yes.
And Papaji's on record to say that the ultimate truth is nothing ever happened.
Yes.
And Ramana, if you read these blogs, I'd be very interested if you have time to read these blogs on my website and give some feedback to me.
I will.
Because actually I would value your opinion, because there is a kind of controversy if the manuscript is really authentic, you know, if this is really a report about Ramana Maharshi or not, you know. So it would be very helpful for me to get your opinion. But anyway, in this manuscript, he says the same thing, you know. He says there's nothing. It's all a kind of I don't know what words he uses to describe it, but it's all Maya. It's all a fantasy, illusion. It's all illusion that we create, and that actually there isn't any body. I mean, here we appear to be about 25 people, but he would say there isn't any body and there isn't anything. So as you investigate what you're saying that you've been investigating, then you find you kind of deconstruct yourself, you know, your normal identity gets kind of destructed. And if you keep doing it, as I've been doing it now for many years, you end up with kind of like nothing, you know. It's like the thing about the onion, you know, you start peeling an onion leaf by leaf, and in the end of the onion, there isn't anything.
There's nothing more left.
Nothing. This is our reality, which is a bit scary, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. That's often when I come deeper, I have this feeling it's kind of scary, but I can hold it. But at the same time, I feel more peace, and this helps me to stand the scary situations, because feeling this peace. Because when I go out of the deep, it's not scary anymore, but I'm fighting with others, and it's so you know, it's all the struggling again. And so you have these two sides. And
all right.
For me, it's now when you say Ramana, I just read a book of one of Annamalai Swami, It's from David Gottman, the student of Ramana. And when I read this book, for me, it's not important to read them intellectually. It's for me the possibility to sit there with Ramana and just listen to him. It's the same when I read the books with Nisargadatta. I just sit there and listen, because it's a bit like that. Yeah.
Well, that's what you're saying is why I would be particularly interested to get your feedback about this manuscript. Yeah. Because somehow, talking about destiny, I mean, 2 months ago somebody sent me an email telling me about this manuscript. And immediately I was touched. Yeah. So within about 2 hours, I managed to download from Amazon the whole manuscript. It's about 2,000 pages. And it's not formatted. So it's like one line after the other. It's a very dense document you get. Yeah. Almost unreadable, actually, almost unreadable. And anyway, I found on that first morning, I found a particular bit that touched me. So I found myself copying it, then pasting it into an email, sending it to myself, putting it in Word, formatting it, and then being able to read it in a very relaxed way. And I was very touched. And then I started doing this for the last 2 months. I've done about 50 texts now from this manuscript. And during the course of this 2 months, I found myself surrounded by a kind of presence. And this is where it's difficult, or it's not so easy to express it, but on some level, it's a bit like the presence was Ramana, but of course I wouldn't say Ramana was there, but there was some kind of energy, like a cloud of energy surrounding me. And as I read this material, I got very, very touched. And often I felt myself almost sitting in the hall, 85 years ago, sitting in the hall. Maybe I was there. I don't know. I could have been there, but anyway, this energy, and so, I mean, reading those texts is a very powerful, you talk about Annamalai Swami, he's in those texts, for example, because it turned out that in a past life, he'd been a well-known English architect, and Ramana got him to build the ashram. It seems that he supervised the construction of the ashram. Under Ramana's supervision, you can say. Yeah. And actually, I was very lucky because I spent an afternoon alone with Annamalai Swami in about 1993, I think. We spent one afternoon together with his assistant translating. And by then he was, I don't know exactly, he must have been getting on for 85 or 90. It was about the time that David's book comes from, because in that, for many, many years, he never spoke, He used to be very, very important part of the ashram. As I say, he was with Ramana, he was building the ashram, he was supervising the construction. And then one afternoon, the story goes that he and Ramana found themselves in the toilet together. Yeah. And Annamalai Swami asked Ramana, the Ananda, Ananda means bliss. The Ananda from the sadhus when they smoke marijuana, is it the same Ananda that we can feel inside ourselves? Yeah? Some question like that. Yeah. And then apparently Ramana started kind of kidding around like a kid, dancing around the toilet, Ananda, Ananda, Ananda or something, yeah? And then he grabbed Annamalai Swami in a big hug, right? Like a bear hug. And apparently in that moment, Annamalai Swami, poof, he was finished. Yeah. And after living for some years, many years actually, in the ashram, and having this close connection to Ramana, a few hours later, he came into the meeting and told Ramana, I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm leaving. Yeah.
And then he stayed a lot of years just by himself.
He never came back. I think he sat for 20 years. He built a very small ashram on the edge of Ramana Ashram. You can visit it, actually. And he sat basically in silence for something like 20 years. I mean, Ramana would visit him sometimes, but he never came back into the ashram. Amazing.
And then in the end of Ramana's life, that's what I've found so interesting. We're talking about body, and when Ramana was walking and they met, shortly before he died, he showed him, I don't see you. He just helped him just not to see his body, and just, I'm not the body. And so he didn't greet him, everything. He just walked, didn't say hello, nothing. And then some people, and he didn't visit him before his death. And some people said, oh, Annamalai Swami, he doesn't meet you, it's so bad. And Ramana said, oh, he's the only one who sees I'm not the body. And he is here thinking of me. This is the most important thing. I think it's really touching, this story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even in the moment when he was leaving his body, Annamalai Swami didn't come back in the ashram. There are many strong things. Anyway, I'm very much enjoying your paintings. I'm sitting in the room with about 6 or 7 of them right now. You can see them behind me.
Yeah, I'm happy you like the catalog. It's sometimes
your catalog is. I mean, you should publish it for the public. It's really like a beautiful art book, actually.
Yeah.
You should see if somebody will distribute it for you, because it's really a beautiful art book.
Yeah, well, I think it's difficult today in these times for books. A lot of people are looking TV and going in internet, and it's difficult for books. But I have, for decades, I have this passion for books.
Right.
So I just should try to make them,
Yeah, no, so you've done a wonderful job. It's a really high quality book, really high quality. It's completely tough. But I have one little thing. There's a very interesting text in the beginning, only in German.
No, in English. It's translated. It's translated.
Really?
You just have to go a couple of pages in English as well. And it's a very good translator. It's Catherine Frum from Berlin. She's from California, and she translates in cultural texts, cultural lyrics, and she made a very good translation.
Okay, because in the back of the book there is some text in English also. But when I found the text in the front, I didn't find the English, but I'll look again now.
Just a couple of pages further, it's the English version.
Very good. Very well. Then the book is really perfect. Really perfect.
Thanks.
No, but actually, it's a bit of a masterpiece, because a lot of your art is how can I say? It works on different levels. The whole painting works on one level, but then in that book, you photograph details from your painting, and then they work on another level, like another painting almost, you can say.
Yeah.
And I was also touched by your kind of, I don't know what you call them, like sculptures. We should have had them in the exhibition, actually. Next time we have them. They also look very interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward how you like this text, because it's not it's from some author and lyricist from Düsseldorf, and he writes like a poet about it, not scientifically, more poetically looking at this work. And this,
okay, well we can do a deal. I offer you a deal. I'll comment on your text and you comment on my blog.
Okay, we can do that. Yes. Good deal,
good,
David.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. By the way, actually, I don't know if you're celebrating Christmas, but if you're locally here with your girlfriend at Christmas, on the 25th, we have in the evening a party, a dinner and a party with cabaret. You'd be very welcome to come.
I just told her we would be there for sure, but we're taking a plane at 25th to Gran Canaria. We're going to an artist. He has a place there, and staying 2 weeks for holidays on Gran Canaria. Otherwise, we would be there for sure.
Okay, and that's not in Lanzarote, is it?
No, Gran Canaria. It's
okay.
He bought half a valley there and made a beautiful botanical garden, and you can live there. And it's a lot of artwork put around, and I'm looking forward to
go. Right. Okay. Next year, remember 25th.
Yes.
We do every year a party, and I would again invite everybody who's on this blog on the Zoom tonight. I would invite you to the party. Yeah, come and spend Christmas with us, Oscar. Nice to see you back from your surfing trip. Oscar, are you there?
Hello.
Where is he? Hello.
Can you hear
me?
me?
I can hear you, Oscar. Yeah, you're back from surfing.
I am in because I want to visit my family, but I go back to Gran Canaria.
You go to Gran Canaria where you can meet Martin there in this valley, artistic valley.
Maybe.
Anyway, good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. Well, I would like to say something about the body, because when I'm meditating or when I go inside myself, I can see the energy is going where I point in my attention. Then that means that the consciousness where the consciousness is putting the attention, the energy is going there. The body is energy. Then the mind or the consciousness creating this body. The thing is that when we come to this planet, we forget that we are the conscious that is creating this body and this energy, and we believe that our body is myself, but it is not.
Right. This is our conditioning, really. I mean, we're brought up in our whole life with that idea, with that conditioned idea.
Yes, and why consciousness won't come to this experience? Maybe because the only thing that can do is get words and experience them.
Unfortunately, I don't really hear you, Oscar. You're breaking up. I think my internet probably not good enough. But anyway, it's very nice to see you again, and come and visit us in Denia. Several people living in Denia now doing developing the property. We bought that property, and now we're developing it.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's better. Yeah.
I don't know until when you could understand what I said.
I missed the last part, the last half of it, maybe.
Maybe. Well, I said why consciousness decide to perform or this reality, Maybe because the consciousness, the only thing that can do is create worlds and universe and experience them. But maybe we are a little bit trapped in this planet, no? We are like experiencing a deeper density. That's why we don't remember what we are. Maybe the rest of the universe, they know, but we are like a little bit isolated, and we have to enlighten to get out of this type of prison.
I mean, it's very scary when you dwell on the idea that there's nothing, that everything that appears to exist, in fact, doesn't exist. This is very scary, you know. So it's not surprising that we hold on to our body, for example. You know?
Yeah, when I was a kid, a little boy, I remember when I was 12 or something like that, I was afraid when I went to sleep every day because I was thinking, why everything is gonna end someday, you know? Everything finished. And I was like every day in this thought, and I couldn't sleep every night. And one day I was pushing and doing too much strength to get some answer. And suddenly I felt like emptiness but black. I didn't see anything, but I felt something. And since this day, I could sleep since this day.
Right.
Because I realized something unconsciously, but I realized something.
Right. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, when you have some time, fly to Germany and visit us, you know.
Okay.
You'll be surprised at the community energy, I think. Yeah. Anyway, good. Enjoy your surfing.
Yes.
Okay. Nice to talk to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think I'm going to finish now. It's a bit. So thank you very much. We had rather a juicy meeting tonight, I think. Thank you very much for everybody contributing. Thank you.